Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about email marketing and specifically how you can maximize your revenue for your Activewear brand. Before I get into the details of email marketing, I first want to talk about why it's important in the first place. So, this essentially comes down to two things. First, email marketing is very cost effective. And second, you don't need to rely on any other third-party app or organization to make sales. Now, let's explore these topics in more detail. Email marketing is the most profitable marketing channel that exists today. The average ROI, and I want to emphasize average here, is 36 to 1, meaning that for every $1 you spend, you get $36 back. This is literally unheard of, and it is impossible to achieve with other marketing platforms, especially with Google and Facebook ads. The only number that is close to this is to my knowledge, SEO. And even with SEO, I think it is something around 1 to 25 or 26-ish, something around that. But 1 for 36 on average is literally impossible. On top of that, contrary to general misbelief, email is a growing communication channel. So there is this belief in the market today that email marketing is dying. It couldn't be further from the truth. Email marketing is only getting bigger and bigger. As you can see from the graph here, this is the number of email users per year from 2017 to 2025. And as you can see clearly here, the number is increasing, which means your audience is only getting bigger. So it doesn't make sense to say that email marketing is dying when the number of email users are just steadily growing. So that's that. The other thing is you don't need to deal with any third-party organizations or apps to basically make sales. If you've dealt with Facebook or Google ads before, you'll know that how annoying these account bans and ad restrictions can get. On top of that, the competition is more fierce than ever now. So nowadays, even to reach your own followers, you have to use paid ads. Like on Instagram, your own followers don't even see your posts unless you pay for the ads. This will only get worse over time because the competition is increasing. If you don't know how the ad system works, it basically works like an auction. So the more competition you have, the more expensive your ads get. But you don't have these issues with email marketing. Your content and its distribution is totally under your control. So which means you are basically free to do whatever you want. Of course, in legal boundaries. In legal boundaries. This will become more and more important as the ads get more expensive and the privacy restrictions get more tougher. So, I hope I was able to communicate to you clearly why email marketing is probably the most important marketing channel that exists today. Now we'll talk about the roadmap we're going to follow, and I want you to follow the same path as I'll go through in this video. There is a specific reason behind that. You'll understand why I prefer to do things this way as I explain you more clearly as we go into more detail. So, first we'll talk about the email signups, then we'll move on to email deliverability, then flows or automations, then segmentation, and then we'll finish with the campaigns. So, email signups. Guys, the thing is, by its nature, email lists decline by 20 to 30% every year, okay? And this is even if you do everything perfect. So even if you have a lot of contacts right now, you need to make sure that you have a steady flow of new leads to keep your list quality high. What does high list quality mean? It basically means you have good open rates and you have good click and click-through rates. And also you have good conversion rates. But how can you get people to sign up to your list? That's the main question. Now we have 4 main pillars to achieve this. The first one is our brand and our products, okay? The second one is the offer, the third one is the copy, and the fourth one is design and visuals. Now, let's explore these in more detail. So, a big mistake that brands make is to only focus on the offer and copy and design. So, they basically focus only on this part and they don't think about the brand and products. Okay? But the most important thing here is your brand and your products. Let's make something clear here. If I don't want your product in the first place, no matter what you offer on the pop-up form or no matter what you promise me in the copy, you can't make me sign up to your list. The most important thing is always the brand and the product. Everything else comes second. But for the sake of this argument, let's assume that we are already targeting people that are interested in our products and brand, right? So now the question is, how can we make them sign up? We have people that are interested in our products and our brand, and how we need to now ask, how can we make them sign up to the emails? So we do this by offering something that is valuable to them. This is called an incentive. This could be a discount code, it could be an ebook, it could be free shipping, it could be a gift, it could be a mystery gift, or it could be literally anything else you can think of, anything your customers might want, okay? Now, after we come up with an incentive, then we need to figure out how to present it the best way possible. So this is where copy and the design comes into the picture, okay? But as you can see, copy and design are not the fundamental things, which means even if you don't have the greatest copy in the world, and even if you don't have the greatest design, yes, maybe the percentage will change. Maybe you'll not get as much subscribers as you can, but they're not the main thing, okay? They're secondary. So even if you don't have the perfect copy and the design, you'll still get a lot of subscribers if your product, your brand is good, and if your offer is good enough. Now, we'll talk about the copy and the design in a future video, because otherwise this will be a 30-minute, 40-minute video, and I don't want this to get so long. So we'll cover these topics in a future video. Now, let's talk about email deliverability. Sorry guys, had to cut the video short there. So now we can talk about email deliverability. Deliverability is perhaps the most important but the most overlooked aspect of email marketing. Think about it this way. If people don't see your emails in the first place, what's the point of sending them? Just because we have the email addresses doesn't mean every contact will get our emails. So to reach our contacts, we need to make sure our deliverability is on point, or it's healthy. And the best indicator of a healthy email deliverability is open rates. If your open rates are below 20%, it means you can improve it. And if it is below 10%, you need to fix it ASAP. Okay, so if it is below 10%, don't send any more emails, just fix your deliverability first, because no one is seeing them. Now, there are 4 factors that affect email deliverability. I won't go into detail with these, because I'll cover them in a future video, and if I go in more detail about these, then this will just be a 1-hour video. So again, I'll cover them in a future video. So now we have email flows. Email flows are basically automated emails that are sent after a contact takes specific action. For example, after a contact signs up to your list, then they get the welcoming flow. Or after they buy a product, they get the thank you flow, etc. Now, there are 2 sets of flows that you have in your toolbox. The first one is the acquisition flows, and the second one is the retention flows. With acquisition flows, we are basically trying to turn leads into customers. So these are people that have never purchased from your store, and we are trying to convert them into customers. With the retention flows, however, the goal is to either trigger repeat purchases or to build rapport. You can see the list of the flows. Now, this is not a complete list, and there are also other flows, but these are just the very fundamentals. The highlighted flows are usually the most profitable ones, although it might change on the brand, but yeah, they're usually the most profitable ones. Now, implementing flows should be the first thing you need to do after fixing your deliverability. Why? There are 2 reasons. First is very simple. The sooner you do this, the sooner they'll start generating revenue. The second thing is, since these flows are highly personalized, remember, the contact needs to take specific action before we send them these emails or they receive these emails. They usually get pretty high open and click rates, which helps to keep deliverability score high. So, now we have list segmentation. Segmentation, what is segmentation? Segmentation is basically grouping people into different categories or groups. it helps us target contacts based on certain criteria. This could be gender, it could be age, it could be their interests, etc. And this criteria can literally be anything you want. Okay? So this is, in its essence, this is what we are doing. We are grouping people into different categories. That being said, you need to find the sweet spot between targeting too narrow and too broad. If your conditions are too specific and you are targeting too narrow, you'll have dozens of emails. You have dozens of different groups or different segments with only a few people inside, which is just unnecessary work. On the other hand, if your conditions are too broad, then you'll not be able to target people effectively, which will hurt your conversions, it will hurt your open rates, it will hurt your click rates, and it will hurt your deliverability. Okay? Also, it will hurt your brand reputation as well. However, this shouldn't worry you because there are some best practices out there that you can follow. For example, if you're just starting out, you can start by segmenting based on the engagement levels. This could be 30-day engaged list, 60-day engaged list, and 90-day engaged list. And then you can move on from there. You can always improve it later on as you learn more about these stuff. Now, the last thing we have is email campaigns. But what are campaigns? Campaigns are individual emails that are sent with a specific purpose to a certain segment. So let me give you another example here. For example, imagine that I'm sending a sales email to a 30-day engaged segment, or I'm sending a back-in stock announcement to a 90-day engaged segment, etc. Now, most people think of campaigns like this, okay? So they think you have email campaign, which consists of an offer, the design, and the copy. However, in reality, email campaigns look like this. So you have to pick the product, you have to communicate your brand voice clearly, you have to find the right sales angle, you have to know the optimal sending frequency, you have your offer, you have your design, and you have your copy, all right? Now, all these factors affect how much money you make with email campaigns. Most brands just focus on the copy and design and the offer and neglect the others. So again, they think it's just this, okay? This is a huge mistake. First of all, every campaign you send should aim to make your positioning stronger in people's minds. In my opinion, this is even more important than making sales. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't make sales or making sales is not important, but if it is your only goal, you'll just start doing everything you can to squeeze a penny from your prospects. For example, running constant sales periods or constantly giving discounts, and it will just ruin your brand reputation in the long run. The other thing you need to consider is the campaign frequency. If you're sending too frequent emails to a too broad segment, you'll just tire people out, so people will just get bored. The ideal sending frequency depends on your brand, but for most brands, it's between 4 to 12 emails per month. Now, I know this is a bit broad, but there's honestly no way I can tell you how many emails you should send. If you don't know the email ideal number, just start with 1 per week and then increase the frequency until you start to see diminishing returns. That's the best advice I can give you. Now, for the sales angle, you should know what your competitors are doing, and also you should try different angles yourself to see what works for your brand. So every brand, what works for your brand will be different from what works for others. So you have to test things for yourself as well. There is really not much I can recommend you about this from here without knowing anything about your brand. But if you want my help, or if you want to hear my opinion, you can always send me a message over the socials and we'll talk about it. Now, again, I won't go into copy and the design, but I'll cover them in a future video, just as I said with the sign-up forms. If you have an activewear brand and you're looking to increase your sales with emails, you're not seeing the results you want with email marketing, then I'll put a link in the description and you can go and book a call there. You can also, if you have any questions, you can also ask me on my socials. And yeah, that's basically it. So hope this was helpful and see you guys in the next video. Cheers.